everybody. Let's exit to port. At the time of recording, it is currently 10:52 on a Tuesday pre-noon, the 26th of August, 2025. When I look outside the window, the fjord is almost glassy smooth. The sun is shining. The birds are eating all my raspberries. But other than that, life is pretty mediocre. In other words, I have nothing to complain about, and on the other hand, not much to celebrate either. No, I'm kidding. Life is actually pretty good. It is actually pretty good. And you know why it's good? It's because we're here recording a podcast. Mr. Grumbles the Dwarf, how are your raspberries doing?
Hello. It's chilly here, and I'm very happy about that after the silly heat waves. We've got weather that makes me a little bit cold, even in here at the computer. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Bring on the winter.
Fall/autumn is fast approaching here in Northern Europe. And well, I mean, we'll probably see some flashes of heat there and there, here and there, but for the most part, we're heading into the more temperate of time zones. Technically, it's a time zone, right? Can we call it that? I'm not sure. Are we allowed to call it that? Let's make it that. A period of time is now a time zone. That's what we've called it. We are Time Lords. We are allowed to do this.
Right. Okay.
Well, I mean, time is a social construct anyway, so, you know, there's that part. We're going heavy. We're going heavy this day.
Call everything into question.
Oh, yeah.
Our entire existence.
Oh, yeah.
Are we in the Matrix?
No, but we are in a black hole. Or most likely, at least. That's actually not that far-fetched. That's the worst part of this heavy opening, is that it's not, or it's looking more and more possible that we are observing the universe outwards from inside a black hole. That's wild to me. If anyone wants to geek out about that, you can reach me at TigersDen's geek at TigersDen.no or something. Not for legal reasons, it's not a real email. Anyway, welcome to the podcast, everybody. I hope you guys are ready. We feel ready. We have not really sent out an early warning for our patrons for questions and comments this month, because there's a lot going on. There's been a lot coming out at Gamescom, and there's been a lot coming out in general. There's content creation news, there's roleplay news, there's a lot going on. There's some big topics here, and we're just gonna jump straight into some of those topics right after we say thank you to our patrons. If you feel like you have $2 or $2 equivalent extra per month, we would be incredibly grateful to receive that as support over on patreon.com/exit-to-port. What do you get when you support us on Patreon? Grumbles.
Better weather.
Do you?
Well, I'll just say that. I don't know. For legal reasons, your weather may vary.
Your mileage may vary. Now, for $2 a month, we try to get the podcast out as quickly as possible to you. Some months you get it a full week ahead of everybody else. Other months you might get it a few days before, but we do try to get it out as quickly as possible. We also try to always cover your questions. If there's something we haven't been able to cover, we will do that in Patreon exclusives. Yeah. You also get a different way of contacting us, which is through Patreon, of course, but I'm not sure you need to be a paid patron to be able to do that. Whatever. Thank you to our patrons. We will cover more about that a bit later. And as usual around here, we talk a lot about games, and we're gonna start off with a title I haven't even heard. See what I did there?
Yeah,
Eh?
I did. It was good.
Good, thank you.
I like it. Yeah,
It was so good that I just kind of
hopefully it'll make up
it.
for the slight typo where we put recently played game, and I only spotted it after we started.
Why have I not? Like, I swear, why is this not fixed? What games? Why? Why does that? Why?
Yeah,
I feel like I've fixed that so many times.
Probably
Why?
about once per month for the last 5 years.
Yes,
roughly.
but I keep saving the document. So what happens?
Right.
How does this keep happening?
Only you could possibly answer this. We'll have to call in Sherlock Holmes.
I have no idea. Like, I know I've corrected that several times now. You know what? Screw it. Anyway, Herdling.
Yeah. Yeah. At least I didn't draw a lot of attention to it. Neither do you.
And
Herdling is...
We're hurdling towards the bottom of the podcast here. I just want to point that out.
Yes. Yeah, we're just following Twitch's lead. Anyway, more on that later. I played this game Herdling because somebody who's actually, I didn't realize at the time, part of their overall team reached out to me. Someone that I've had contact with before who does kind of like a, creator liaison stuff, and like, oh, there's this game coming. Would you be interested in covering it? Blah, blah, blah. And they reached out to me on this one, and I had a look at it, and it was like, okay, this is from the people that made, it's like a crossover team between the ones that made the FAR games, FAR, Lone Sails and Changing Tides, which are just epic. They're just fantastic games. You go look them up on Steam. I couldn't recommend them highly enough. If you like a little story, kind of simple to follow, a few lightweight kind of puzzles and things, and a lot of emotional, sentimental stuff, a little bit of a tearjerker at times, but just go look up the FAR games. Really worth it. And also some of the folks behind games like Firewatch, which I haven't played, but I know you're a big fan of.
Such a good game.
Yeah. So I was immediately intrigued, and then looking at the visuals and everything, the art style, and it being a kind of a storytelling thing. So we played it on release day, brand new, just out of the gate, immediately after the embargo ended, for legal reasons. And you do exactly what it says on the tin. You find and gather up and herd a small group of what are called calicorns, which are these big kind of like, I don't know, like yak, large goat kind of creatures, and you have to guide them initially out of a sort of cityscape, urban, pretty miserable looking environment, up into the mountains where they kind of belong, and you just go on this fantastic journey of guiding them, looking after them, cleaning them up, helping them if they're hurt, feeding them, guiding them through hazards and stuff, obstacles, and they engage and help you on some of the puzzles that you have to solve. It's a ride, man. It's just really, really fun. It's, the tears well up a little bit, but it's just really, really enjoyable, like positive experience, similar to what I felt when I played the FAR games, or Journey, anything kind of that ilk. Really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if you caught any of it.
No, I didn't. Like, this is a completely unknown title for me. I'm just looking at the art style and such, and like looking at some of the kind of broken down technology and such, the gates, there's a broken down car and such. It's giving me pre Beyond the Horizon. No, what's it called? Oh,
like Horizon games with Alloy.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the ones. Like it's giving me kind of like even before that, but just after kind of society has started broken down. Like I just looking at it, and then humans need to shift their pace, and these glorious looking buffalo, yak, goat things, bantas, whatever they look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
looks
it's pretty
like a
fun.
really nice little game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we played it in about 3 or so hours. So it's going to be one of those that you play it, enjoy it, have positive memories just on the 3.7, and then you're going to like put it on the shelf like a good book, and give it a year or something, come back, have another go at it, that kind of thing, and just get that positive energy every time. Albeit, there are a few little challenges and there's a few little moments where it could be a bit of a tearjerker, but yeah, it's that's how these things engage so well. I think that they convey that sentiment and that sort of mixture of fear and elation that you go through. It's a real ride. It's good fun. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something that's on the wholesome end of gaming with a lovely art style and music and everything.
The description on
Jolly good.
Steam says, guide a herd of mysterious creatures on a stirring and beautiful journey into the mountains and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just looking at like when I googled the title, so far reviews are mixed. On Steam it has 9 out of 10, and Game Reactor gave it 5 out of 10, and I'm like, what's wrong with you, Game Reactor? Like, what is Game Reactor looking for in that case?
Don't know. There were a couple of things that they've patched, but they've already put a patch out. There was nothing that like broke the game, but there was a couple of little things that maybe weren't as obvious or should have worked slightly differently or something, but nothing that really stops you. Yeah, so I don't know, but like anything, brand new release, wait a week for the first patch and then give it a go if you're worried about that kind of thing. Definitely worth at the very least a wish list and keep an eye on it. And yeah, I think they had a discount for the first week as well. I don't know. I partly influenced by the fact of how much I still enjoy and think fondly of the Far games as well, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't see anything to really complain about unless you didn't know what kind of game this was when you went into it and you were looking for like harder puzzles or whatever.
Judging from the Game Reactor review, I don't think they know what they were looking for either. So, that's all I'm going to say about that, and disregard what Game Reactor is saying. Yeah, no, Herdling, it looks fabulous. And yeah, so there's an opening sale for 2 more days. I don't think a lot of people will get to enjoy that sale that listen to this podcast, unless you're a patron and get this tomorrow, or even today on the day of recording. But yeah, no, it does look wonderful. These huge creatures that are just kind of curious and being guided by you. Huh, I like it.
Yeah,
I might have to have a look at it.
One other little point I just noticed by looking on the Steam page, again, too late probably for most listeners, but they actually have a bundle with Firewatch together, which is 80% off. So that's crazy. But yeah, you basically, as part of that, you pick up Firewatch 80% off if you take that bundle offer. So yeah, worth having a look at there as well.
And if you do enjoy the narrative kind of games like that, Firewatch is definitely worth it. I want to point that out. But moving swiftly along from one giant herded creature to another, Wandering Village. This I have seen both you and Stats play, and it has, like, part of the reason why I know some people were very excited about this is for streamers. It does actually have a Twitch integration. I'm not sure how well that works, and honestly, I'm not that into the Twitch integration, because for me, this was more just about being a fabulous exploration and decision-making game, and judging from how both you and Stats played it, that is definitely how most people will play it and enjoy it. So, Wandering Village, what?
Yeah. So essentially, it's like a little colony sim where you've got to like build up and manage your little village. It's in a fantasy world setting where the world has kind of succumbed to poisons and things, and you have this giant creature, like really a titan, called an onbu. And there are different like variants of them and things which some of which you can sort of unlock just by playing the game as you go along. And yeah, your village and your villagers live on the back of this giant creature on like a big rock plateau, and you slowly begin to form a symbiotic relationship with it where you can start to influence it as long as it sees you as a benefit and something positive. So, for example, by feeding it or helping it stay healthy, this kind of thing. And then it literally does what it says on the tin again. It wanders through the land. You can eventually begin to influence the direction it takes. Kind of like, are we going left or right at the next junction kind of thing. And there's pros and cons. You can go into more dangerous areas. You can look for ancient ruins to investigate. You can start developing like, gliding teams that can go off and search through the ruins or pick up resources from nearby mines and stuff like that. So it's kind of got lots of the development aspects that you'd have from a lot of those kind of colony sim games, but with this wonderful added twist that you're on this giant creature that's constantly moving through the world. And it's not as simple as just, well, it's just moving and that's that. It's, you've got to pay attention. Where is it going? What are the risks versus the rewards of going in certain directions, and how can you kind of influence that at all? Yeah, just really nicely put together. The Twitch integration was good in that it was automatically picking active chatters up and like putting them in as villagers. But we had them, some of the devs were in the live stream, and we gave them the feedback, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're working on that quickly as well." Was that the names and everything are not visible. So whilst you don't want too much information on the screen, and it's an art style that definitely is a less is more kind of look to it, it would be nice to be able to either bring up a list or hold the Alt key or something like that and just see who's in the village right now. What are they up to?
Yeah.
Who's feeding the onbu, or who's on like latrine duty, and that kind of thing, or fertilizer collection. Let's put it that way. And yeah, but again, they were like on top of it. They were friendly and engaged, supporting their product out there, and joining in chats and things. So it's another one of those. If you're looking for something wholesome, if you're looking for something that has a nice story developing, as well as gives you those usual expected kind of features from a colony sim. It's not super deep, but it's sufficient, and the way the art style and the music and everything kind of works as a whole package. It's a very, very enjoyable experience.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed the art style of it when I was looking at it. It's a very does it make sense if I say it's a soothing graphic to look at as a viewer?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's not got a lot of glaring things just kind of digging itself into your eyeballs. No, it's just it's not too soft either. Like it has a very nice style to it. Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that I think I could enjoy offline. And but the whole idea of kind of having villagers where I recognize names and can kind of talk to them, it's tempting. I won't lie.
Yeah, it's nice to see more and more games that are bringing in those kind of integrations, like right out of the box.
Yeah.
And there's just lots of pros and cons and different ways of going about it. I think that once they make a couple of tweaks to make that more like Timberborn did it quite well, where you had the lists of people and you could edit things and whatever. Yeah, it's it's a mixture. Like the one I've been trialing recently, the mod for RimWorld is pretty good. Because RimWorld has a lot of information, more information going on screen, and just having all of my chatters kind of running around, either as animals or people within the game, is pretty fun. So, but you need a way to kind of flick that on and off sometimes, maybe. But yeah,
Yeah, like
definitely,
it needs to be overlayable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Twitch integrations, I just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Skype of Cthulhu, who has been gaming with me for years, being almost what we call fast inventar, aka bolted down furniture, on my channel every Friday. He has recently started streaming, and he enjoys Project Zomboid. And I tipped him off about a Twitch integration for Zomboid, and he was like, "Oh God, that's evil. Oh, I like this." Because he is of the people that is like, yeah, you know, Zomboid's out there to kill you. I might as well enjoy it. Which is, I don't know how people do it. I admire it so much. But yeah, he talked about that. So things that can give you some sort of Twitch integration is always fun. And speaking of which, for our more eager listeners, you might remember that we talked a bit about Cast and Chill. I did reach out to the devs on Blue Sky, and sadly no answer yet. But it would be amazing to have that kind of speech bubble thing going on with the fish, or even the dog, or, you know, just maybe messages. Oh my God, this is even better. Hello, messages left to you at the little merchant's place.
Yeah.
Like, just you know, you have this little stack of post-it notes that have some of the messages that people have written to you. Says the name and then what they've written.
Why do I immediately envisage one from Durac that says, apparently, guys, you can make more money if you catch and return more fish. Signed, I'm helping.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I don't know how to move on to Conan Exiles from that.
You probably picked something out of the Dregs.
Hey, so what is Dark Dregs?
What is Dark Dregs? Dark Dregs is part of the latest Conan updials. Updials? Yeah, updials. There you go.
Conan
they updialed
it.
They updialed it with an X date. The Dark Dregs is a twist on essentially the first dungeon that you really go into in Conan Exiles on the base map, the Dregs. Where what they did is they utilized the fact that it's like an instance that you load in and out of, and to completely revamp it or redesign and adjust things like lighting and just how it plays, and also the enemies that you face within, to make it, as the name suggests, very dark, very mysterious, all new creatures that actually, because you need a light source to be able to work your way around and light some braziers as you go along and things like that. And some of these creatures are actually drawn to the light. So just the fact that you're walking around with a torch or lighting up braziers means you're drawing these nasty creatures in to attack you, which is pretty cool as well as intimidating. And yeah, Purple and I just went through that, having a little bit of co-op shenanigans, and yeah, it's you don't go in there underprepared as we did. It was pretty hilarious. We got beaten up all over the place, falling in acid pools, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. And it was just, it's not like the biggest amount of content or like the longest thing, but it's nice to see that they, after so many years and with the big June release and all the other stuff going on there with the development cycle of 3 years and everything else, where that's taken a lot of resource away and attention away. Understandably, it's nice to see Conan come back and like give Conan Exiles, not Conan, Funcom come back and give Conan some updates. They've also been focusing a lot with this update on quality of life and bug fixes and things like that, which is something that the community's been asking for a long time, because the recent history of the last couple of years has been a lot of like, well, they've really been pushing like new content, and both bringing new bugs with it sometimes, but also like ignoring some of the other ones that are a bit glaring in some cases. And now they've listened and they've said, you know what? Okay, it makes sense what you're saying. We wanted to fix these things too, so they've adjusted their approach to less content, but a whole bunch of improvements and fixes that come with it. I'm not going to say that they've nailed it 100%.
Now hear me out. Is this something that has come along with their recent way of doing things for June? Because in June, we've seen them do a tiny bit of content, but then quality of life, bug fixing, some new features here and there, and that kind of makes sense that people want, but also bug fixing and kind of keeping that balance. Does this fit into that sort of schedule for them? I
feel like it kind of does. I think that we've got to wait and see like when is the next update. I know they just did one, but like this is not a big update in terms of like brand new content and stuff, although there's some quite exciting stuff and it's again really nice what they've done to integrate an instance into a map that obviously links back. There's no two ways around it. The whole overland map in June and having instance like story areas, dungeons, whatever you want to call them, as well as obviously the deep desert map as well. But clearly they've looked at this and thought, some of this stuff could probably apply to Conan as well. Let's see what we can take over, albeit they've stated things like the limits of the engine and whatever, because it's a game that's been around quite a long time and wasn't built sort of ground up with that stuff in mind necessarily beyond like their initial scope. So I'm not gonna say that I'm expecting Conan to suddenly become like a 2.0, like really change massively. But I think your point is valid, and obviously I don't know what goes on inside the company, but it's pretty obvious that they've had great success with June, and therefore they're like, well, this works and people react well to this, so let's see where we can apply those lessons, as it were. It definitely feels like that. How much of that they learned through the last 3 years of development and how much they've learned since the release, probably a bit of both. I certainly think the one area that they, funnily enough, haven't been as strong as they could have been, I feel, is on communication, whereas the Dune team have done a pretty good job with communication and also their rapid response to things as well.
Oh, by the way, Ben, your base needs power.
There you go.
I love that thing.
Waiting for our Ben Storm to be like, no, it's fine, because we get him with that every time as well. So I think that they're definitely taking some things, and it's good to see that it's not just words and like, we've taken things that we've learned, blah blah blah. It's like, here's the update, and these are the things that we kind of fixed and focused on and whatnot. So I think they're seeing that positive player base sentiment and recognition enhanced by good communication and sort of an openness for this feedback and everything is really valuable, and a way to avoid some of the pitfalls that other games companies and publishers go through. Even if they have a good product, they can people have big expectations and have this passion and this feeling of like being personally part of something, and they want that they like, and they want it to be the best it can be in that. So I think the true answers will come, I think, in the next update after this one to see where do they go now. Because I think they need to potentially bring a little bit more content than this one had, but this one is a bit of a return to form. Like, okay, we're not going to overdo it and bring something really massive and ridiculous and then have half of it not work on day one and take 2 weeks to patch and that kind of thing. So I think they've taken a good approach with this, and now it will be like, okay, because everyone's speculating and no one really knows about how much competition is there internally between, do we have enough people and enough people of the right caliber working on both products, or is it, Dune's where the money's coming in, so we've got to focus on there. I'm sure that's kind of the trade-off, and the question is just how do they keep that reasonably balanced without letting Conan fall too far behind. So it feels positive. I like the dungeon changes they did. Again, I like that they've tried to fix a bunch of things and do quality of life. There are a couple of bugs that are still persisting. So yeah, time will tell. But thumbs up for, I think, being influenced by the success they've had and saying, where could we apply some of that to our existing product, to our older product, and successfully. And I think they've done it. We did experience some bugs with Dark Dregs, but they were caused by a mod that we were running. As soon as we took that mod away, it was fine. So these things happen.
So you experienced a bug with the mod and not Dark Dregs?
Essentially, yeah. What happened was the mod we were using was the alternative health and death system, which means you can help each other up if you go down in a fight, that kind of thing, without having to restart over again or fully dying. And unfortunately, because that has an impact on things like where you spawn and where spawn points are set and that, this is my guesswork anyway. But it was consistent with that one mod. And because the Dark Dregs is, a new iteration of an instant dungeon with different respawn points should you fall, it was essentially not letting us progress to the end, to the final chamber, and presumably set the last respawn point just outside of that boss fight, as it were. And it crashed consistently no matter what we did. In spite of one suggestion from a viewer, which was try walking in backwards because it might not crash. And we walked in backwards and it didn't crash. And I was like, this can't be the fix. Like, it could be a graphical glitch, but then it crashed right afterwards. It was like, okay, that's not it. for a good 60 seconds, it was like, wait, really? If you just walk in backwards to the boss fight, it works?
I mean, I've had moments in Assassin's Creed Valhalla where when I had the game above 45 FPS, I could not get through a tiny cave opening. But if I set it at 44.9 or below, I had no problem getting through because of the way my character was interacting with the environment around. It was suddenly not colliding with said rock at that one moment.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the graphical glitches and things do happen. So, but there you go. So
it's still, like you said, it's a mod. And they can be fickle from time to time, especially when there's been updates to the main game.
Yeah, I let Funcom know, so because I'm part of their creator program, and they're grateful for the info. And we move forward. I tried to go on the Steam and let the workshop people know of the mod, but that one is one that has no contact and it's not open for comments. So. No avenue to pursue there. I wasn't going to join extra discords and things. I thought, well, I'll let Funcom know. I'm sure that it's a pretty commonly used mod, so I'm pretty sure they have connections there.
We will just have to wait and see. Speaking of waiting and seeing, I want to give a massive thank you to you and Dante and oh my god, who was the last guy who was with us? Was it Andritos?
Andritos was with us.
Yeah, and we went forward, we took and held a point, and we sat there, and it was us. and it was fun in the Battlefield 6 beta. That was so much
Grumpy
fun.
was there too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Like on one of the streams where we just kind of played some Conquest and sat down, he was also there, and it was so good. And for those of you who did not get to try the Battlefield 6 beta because you're kind of sitting there looking at it going, not sure. You've been burned on Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 and whatnot and 2142. I can tell you unequivocally, when I played the Battlefield 6 beta, the first thing that came to my mind was, one, this has the destruction from Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. It has the gunplay from Battlefield 4. It has the map avenues and map design with some added verticality from Battlefield 3. And it felt good. I was right back in old school ways of feeling about shooters. I had to warm up a bit in order to get my reactions on point and understanding, but once I started learning the maps, once I started learning the directions, it started sinking in. It started kind of being like, okay, yeah, we're doing okay. We're doing good. We're here. Ooh, let's go. You know, it was that kind of thing. And it's just, I am looking forward to this full release, Something Fierce. I'm still not pre-ordering. I want to see what they bring out, but before I talk about what they've said that they're going to be doing going forward, before full release, I want to hear your thoughts on it, because I know you were skeptical.
Yeah, so I mean, I was mostly skeptical, and that remains to an extent, about my ability to play a Battlefield game these days. But it's similar to what you've described, or more or less exactly the same. It felt very Battlefield old school, but it also felt to me, in a positive way, like a little bit of Call of Duty mixed in as well. It was like kind of very chaotic, very like team deathmatch running around kind of feel to it, and I was okay with that for a beta. You could tell that it was in beta and still needs a little bit of polish here and there, especially things like the partying up system and stuff like that, and navigating some of the menus was a bit clunky, but that might also be to cater for, you know, crossplay and stuff like that, and controllers. It all worked. It was just a little bit weird sometimes, behavior wise. But overall, I had tons of fun in it. Particularly, or most, I played a little bit on my own, and it was okay once I got the hang of it a bit. But it was way better in a team, and especially when we decided, okay, let's pick a tactic and then kind of like stick with that and work and adjust from there. That was the most fun, like holding those points the way we did. I've heard Grumpy relayed that apparently that some of the feedback is that they want just a tiny little bit of the chaos trimmed down a little bit, so it's slightly less Call of Duty and a bit more Battlefield, which would probably be a good thing. And they're also there's a couple of much larger maps coming in, so that'll be a bit more like BF3 and 2 that I remember fondly. So it bodes well. It sounds good. I'm not jumping into it right from the beginning. It's not really like a core kind of game for me, but something that I dip my toe in every once in a while if we had a group of people to play with. And I'm not personally going to pay like, you know, $69.99, even if it's nice. That's a lot of money for something that I'm only just going to dip my toe in every once in a while. So we'll see how it develops, and that I'll definitely keep an eye on it. But I had way more fun in this than I was kind of expecting to. I thought, let's just jump in and see, you know, does it give the old school vibe or not? And it really did. It was way more fun than I was anticipating. But when we have to wait and see if it does slow down a little bit, does that take too much away? But hopefully the bigger maps, and like you said, all the destructible environment stuff and all that was pretty much on point. It's the usual thing. Once a few people have played a couple of 100 hours, even in the beta, and they like know exactly where to go as a sniper, or they know, you know, where all the vehicles spawn, and they know where the certain corners are and stuff like that. then you have to kind of learn that stuff and keep up a little bit. But as a quick, like, more or less everyone's fresh and new to those 2 beta weekends, it was just a blast. It was just good fun. One point as well before I forget, they made the medic part, the support medic, feel like it was worthwhile. I thought it was good the way people could drag you. Anybody on the team could drag you and give you the stim pen or whatever. But the medic stuff in particular felt pretty good, and the way they'd added in some extra skills. I didn't do that much of the engineering and fixing and stuff like that, but it all kind of felt like it plugged in quite well and felt meaningful. So that's a big one for me because I like playing as medic.
Yeah, so one of the bigger changes to Battlefield 6 as opposed to any of the other titles is that in a squad, anyone can revive anyone. And that's a really nice system. However, you have to be a medic or support in order to revive people who are outside your squad. You can also then have the paddles, which is an instant as opposed to the whole long hold and then revive.
Mm-hmm.
There are bonuses to using your paddles and then charging them up. It's still instant, but you revive with full health and all of that. Like there are benefits to being an actual medic in it and using it properly.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I'm very much looking forward to that they have talked about and that they are now testing in their Battlefield labs is they are slowing down gameplay somewhat. Like, we're not talking slowing it down to a crawl, but no, they are removing some of the interactions between jumping and sliding.
Mm-hmm.
Sliding and such, like some of these things, like they'll still be there, but they will not have that same Call of Duty so-called omni movement thing going on anymore. And it will impact how fast-paced people move and how you can't just charge down a tank and not be punished, for instance. You need to think a bit more about it. And then I'm looking forward to it because the Battlefield interaction for me is all about the rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock kind of thing, if that makes sense. Like you have certain things that are meant to interact with each other in order to be taken out. And they're keeping that in mind going forward, and I hope you see more balances coming, and we also, like, so many people are asking for another beta, but with bigger maps, just to see how will the bigger maps behave, because the maps we got now, they were not big, not even the biggest ones. Like they were not huge, they were not enormous in any way, shape, or form.
No.
And that made gameplay seem a lot quicker. And one of the things that I'm gonna try to not make this seem gloaty or anything like this, but Battlefield has done something very right with this. They have, like, someone at DICE has worked really hard at sitting down and telling EA to go shove it with skins and whatnot, and just let me cook. Just let me do this. Let me organize things. I'll fix it. I'll take care of things. But like, we're not doing Homer Simpson skin in Battlefield. Okay, let's not do that. Let's not do too many neon colors and so on. Like, let's do something that feels like it belongs in the Battlefield universe. Here's the important part about Battlefield. It's not a simulation. It's not a reflection on real life. It is near future. It is, like, it's not even, like, we're talking, I think the game is usually set like 2 or 3 years ahead of current time. When we have a main Battlefield title, like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, now Battlefield 6, like they were all set in like very close to present. So what they want is they want gear to reflect that. They want gear that looks believable for something that could exist in our timeline, but we're also talking gear and gadgets and such that are going to be a bit, oh, this would be cool to see in real life. And we're likely talking prototypes, but for the most part, we're looking at stuff that would make sense. Believe it or not, there is a whole story and a thought behind why things are the way they are in the Battlefield universe. Feel free to go look that up if you want to. But Battlefield is a giant when it comes to names out there. And the all-time high of the beta, or the high point of the beta, was higher than the all-time high of Call of Duty on Steam. There were more players checking out the Battlefield 6 beta than there ever has been on the all-time high of Call of Duty. That's pretty big. And then right after the beta was done, Call of Duty launched their Black Ops 7 trailer launch video thing on Gamescom. And this is where I need to calm down. I need to not be overjoyed by this, but I will say it does bring me some kind of joy. One of the top comments on that video on YouTube says, and has more likes than the video itself, and the comment says, "Thanks. This has done more for Battlefield 6 pre-orders than you know." Or something to that line. Like, it's so many people looked at the trailer for Black Ops 7 and went, nope, I'm out. I'm playing Battlefield, because it just didn't vibe with them. Like, and Battlefield, I hope EA can keep their grubby mitts away from freaking this up, because like DICE deserves a win again. They have done so well with so many titles. Whenever they've been left alone to do their thing with a game, it has been a smashing success. And one of them being The Division, right? Because DICE took over Frostbite engine, and that was then... No, not DICE. Frostbite was... Oh, what was the studio called? Can't remember. But they have been involved with that technology that was used in The Division, that is a massive Ubisoft title, right? So all of these big corporations just keep ruining these fabulous titles, but just let people do their thing, okay? Just trust in them. And I know we've talked about this before regarding developers being allowed to do their thing. This is one of those moments where the gamers know and will tell you, please don't touch too much. Just shoo. No surprise mechanics, no game boxes, nothing like that. Just let us play, okay? And it shows.
Someone at EA's like, but money.
Yes, you'll get money.
But we wanted to make Fortnite feel.
Yeah. And there's been a few streamers out there that have also been like, oh, but we need a battle pass, and we need ranked mode, and we need battle royale modes, and it's like, no, stop it, shush, just shush.
They should be able to buy their own version. It's called Battlefield 6 Ego version.
Yeah.
Ultimate Ego edition.
But the fun thing is this: there's one streamer that has been put on blast for this, but he has a tendency to do this with a lot of things. But then there's been this horde of old school Battlefield creators coming out of the woodwork being like, no, do not listen to this man, trust us on this. And I do believe that the numbers themselves for players and how well liked the beta has been, that it speaks for itself that, yeah, no, we need to just keep going on this track and not touch and adjust too much. Just polish. Let's just polish and keep going there, because they're on a good track. They are. And I hope they keep onto that track. Speaking of track, we're getting a weird wheeled thing in Dune.
We are. Yeah. Chapter 2 was announced with some trailers at Gamescom. And yeah, part of the update will include a new weird, like, dual wheeled kind of vehicle where you sit inside the wheel. Looks pretty funky. It's stated as I think the quote was something along the lines of offers no significant advantage over existing vehicles in the game. So it's part of the DLC pack. One thing I thought that was very positive and shows Funcom's learning, again, harking back a bit to the Conan conversation, is that people that own the DLC, or that choose to purchase it, will be able to manufacture those vehicles and give them to others, like give them the parts and everything.
Oh,
it doesn't sound like a
right.
big thing, but that is actually a big thing.
That
because
is pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of games, including Conan, moved away from a model where you used to be able to buy the DLC building packs, and then you would craft the pieces like 2 foundations and a roof or something in your pocket, and then just hand those to your buddies. And they changed that when they brought in the building. So now you can only build and utilize what is. So firstly, you don't craft the pieces anymore, so you can't give them to anyone. And secondly, if your building hammer won't show what you don't have unlocked as part of the game in the DLC packs.
Right.
So, which, I dislike that for obvious reasons, but I can kind of see why they did it. So I was very pleasantly surprised that this vehicle is going to be constructible and something you can pass on to others. Obviously the building part will be similar to what I've just described for Conan, as it currently is in the game, which again kind of makes sense, I guess. But most of the building parts you've been unlockable within the game anyway. Yeah, there's a continuation of the story. There's a big I don't know if it's going to be like a map instance. I think it might have been, but correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Where there's going to be a downed harvester, and again a continuation of that storyline, the next chapter, as the name suggests, where you can go and investigate that, and there's going to be like some sort of high risk, high reward, trying to gather some specific items that are only lootable in that particular mission. And there's lots of talk, although it won't be necessarily part of the update straight away, but for beyond that, there's talk about kind of events, maybe faction specific. So maybe there's something like attack, a convoy, this kind of thing. But there's not a lot of detail on it yet, but at least they've been listening and really paying attention. There's going to be some more quality of life stuff coming. And further adaptations to the Landsrat and things, and the way they've already changed quite significantly as it is, but continuation down that path of making it more accessible and more beneficial and more fun for players to kind of engage with some of that content, and to have them more be like personal contracts, but that you can achieve over time, rather than being a grind fest or somebody just turning up because they had all the stuff from last week left over in their stores and just completing the tasks on day one, that kind of thing. So Yeah, I'm pretty excited. There's a new building set coming as well, which looks pretty awesome. So yeah, it should bring some fresh feel back to June. It seems strange saying that because it's only been around for like a couple of months, but people have in a way burned out on it very quickly when you, like me, have played 400 plus hours. So I think it'll be good. I think it will bring back or retain and slightly enhance the mixture of the core player base and then the more casual players who just want to come back and see when something new is coming in. Down the line, further down the line, there's talk of things like arenas for PvP and stuff like that. I mean, there's lots of possibilities. And again, the fact that they brought this instanced sort of technology in with them and enhanced it greatly with Dune, and now they're kind of retrofitting or utilizing some of that and that approach on Conan updates as well, makes me feel like Conan has a good understanding of the bigger picture and good way of communicating and interacting and actually
You said
paying.
Conan again. Did you mean Funcom?
Funcom, yeah, sorry. So I think that Funcom have um, a good level of engagement and genuine interest and desire to not only deliver what they're passionate about, but receive and respond to the passion of the player base as well. So obviously,
We
it's
are
not
likely to talk a bit more about this later in a comment from Mari on YouTube,
Mhm.
because there's plenty to talk about there, because there definitely needs to be more work on it. But I'm very happy to see more story content, and they are driving this forward. That is enormously good. I just hope that they can keep it going in a good way and make it be meaningful. And I'll definitely cover that a bit more, but like again, I keep comparing my June journey to my World of Warcraft journey, for a reason. It is because they play similarly in my mind, and I hope that we can get something along the lines of more instance content in June. And I will cover this more a bit later, but with seeing what they're bringing in here with the bikes, and but also making them available to sell to others or give to others, it feels like they want to try to make it a more, like, you don't have to have the DLC to enjoy it, but you'll have to have the DLC in order to uh kind of be like, if you want to maintain your own vehicle, so to speak, like once those wheels have run out, you need to buy new ones. Can't just make them or keep on repairing them, and I kind of like that idea, because it creates a market. So hopefully it'll work its way in naturally. So
Yeah.
we'll see what they've done, and how they've gone about this. Yeah, I hope I hope they're doing okay with it. It's exciting. I won't lie. I won't lie. Um, but this is only like the first chapter that they're doing, out of
Yeah.
how many? Like, do we know more about what they're
I don't
thinking?
think there's like specific numbers as such, but the key message as part of this was that chapter 2 is essentially what they were already like storyboarding and developing prior to the release. So that's why some of the big things that they've had feedback and ongoing discussions with the player base are maybe not included yet, because obviously things take time and they wanted to actually deliver some updated content, some new story stuff. So this is stuff that again, if you believe everything as it verbatim as it said that they were already predominantly working on, they've maybe squeezed a few things in that are much needed or real hot topics for the player base. But overall, this is like the core story content, everything that they were planning
Right.
to deliver. I personally believe that because I think Funcom have enough experience and you know, this 3-year development cycle and everything that they've delivered with this game. There's no reason why you know, not to believe that. One thing I think that's quite good is they have provided a roadmap, so high level, about where they're going, which touches on, I think, all of the most important points. What I like, though, funnily enough, is that they're not saying, okay, exactly in December we're doing this and exactly in March we're doing that. I'm always in two minds of that. I like to have some precision and something that we can all like orient towards and say, okay, cool, I'm excited about that. Their experience with Conan, I think, has shown them that they did have a tendency to overcommit.
Yeah.
We're like, we're going to do this massive thing and like radically change areas of the map and do this and that and bring in new AI NPCs and stuff like that. And this one, they're going a bit more iterative, but also with some significant enough, some sufficiently, you know, that it's kind of weird. And I know there's been some sort of corners, you know, the internet that are a bit backlash on this, but they're like, we're not saying less is more, but we're saying we want quality and we want consistent like drops over time. They have this big 10-year plan overall, and they don't want people to exclusively, you know, you can take this many different ways, but they state clearly and consistently they don't want people to just burn out and only play this game. They want people to have these kind of healthy breaks, be able to dip in and out and then come back and still have your core player base. They're not saying, oh, we're going to shut our game down for 3 months or something, but they don't want people seemingly like just overdoing it and being just purely exhausted and just, you know, I guess what they don't want is a cliff edge that's like in 6 months time nobody bothers playing this anymore. So they're trying to find that balance between enough content that keeps the core happy. I mean, there's always a core that's going to keep playing no matter what. This is going to be their daily driver or whatever, or at least their weekly driver. Then they want enough that the more casual players are going to come back regularly at whatever the pace is, like every 3 months or something like that, I can imagine. And then they want to, and then there's just the, wow, that's huge. This is completely different kind of big drops that might be like once a year or something like that. I don't know what a good healthy frame for that is. That then brings like a mass of people back in, and some of those will turn into core players, some of those will turn into the, you know, more frequent but more casual players, and some of them will just drift away because it's not the shiny brand new thing today.
It's definitely going to be an interesting journey for them within the next year, at least, to see where are they going and how are they bringing us further along. And chapter 2, which will be opening soon TM, is the first step, I feel.
Yeah.
Because the first changes, the first reiterations and patches they've done has been, okay, we're going to land, and then now we're going to adjust to see where does the player base need us. They have now adjusted, and they can now continue walking. So this is the first step. We'll see. Someone who has kept walking for quite a while, though, and keeps dropping updates now and then is Valheim.
Yeah.
And
Bears. So yeah, they have an update coming. It's on their public test servers at the moment. I haven't played it personally, but I've heard from some people that are very much enjoying it. It's called Call to Arms, and you know, I've kind of glanced at some of the updates in that. I enjoyed Valheim when it first dropped, and then I was really looking forward to and excited for some of their bigger updates as well. And then they dropped the one with like the bog biome and stuff like that. And it's just kind of missed the mark for me. I know there's a lot of people out there, especially people in our community that are still totally enamored with it. But I found that it went it stretched the grind out a little bit too much. It felt, I don't like it when games kind of entirely feel like they lock you out of an area. Like you don't go there. Like the New World kind of way they did it, where it's like, no, you're below level 30, you can't go there kind of thing. I don't like it when games do that. I don't mind it when it's like super dangerous and you know, you probably shouldn't be here and you'd be better run away in that. But Valheim felt a little bit like, well, I just can't do that. I think the Death Skeeters was a classic example, which I think they nerfed a little bit afterwards, or rebalanced, I should say. But this update looks like it's going to bring some pretty exciting things. There's some new magical items right from early on in the game, like pendants and things. There's some new weaponry, as Call to Arms would suggest, and some new armor types. There's bears and there's undead bears, all sorts of stuff. Some adjustments to combat and how stamina works as well, is quite interesting. And yeah, I think it's enough that, I mean, it's also bears, right? So I can't resist that. But it's enough that I might have to find a quiet moment somewhere in the schedule and say, just carve out a block for it and say, let's have another little go at Valheim. I don't know. I'm not trying to tease too much and say when that will be, but definitely one that I might want to go back and look, because I've not really played it since those first days and those first updates. So yeah, could be one that we can do, especially if we can get some like light role play shenanigans in there as well. Yeah. What about you? Did you ever really get into Valheim, or?
Not really, no. I've tried, but whenever I try, uh, either something else comes out and draws me away, or the over enthusiasm from people around me that, oh my god, Tiger's playing Valheim, he needs to know this, he needs to do that, he needs to go there. It just kind of draws me away from it because it gets to be too much. But I don't know, like it's probably a game I could enjoy. In fact, I know it is a game I could enjoy and will enjoy if I have the time and space to enjoy it in my own pace. But it's also a game where I need someone who is patient enough with me that they can answer my questions in a proper way if I have any questions, because it's the classic kind of game of, but how do I do this? Like, how does this function? How do we build something that works? How do we, like, why is it like this? Like, someone who can answer these questions for me will have to be available. And if I don't have that, then it's the sort of stuff that can make me grow tired of a game, because the interest just drops out.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool little world. I do very much enjoy the art style of it, and I do believe, like, it's moddable, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we used a couple of mods early on, which with some different levels of success. There was one to increase your pocket spaces and things like that. But if not everybody had it, or if you turned that mod off or it didn't get updated or whatever, then you could lose what was in those extra pockets. And so there's a few little gotchas, but I haven't really looked at the modding scene, but apparently it's healthy and there. So it'd be one of the things I'd have to look at going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's some quality of life possibilities at least there. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I would definitely recommend is that they Iron Gate, the developers, they made a really fun Call to Arms trailer for this update. It's really worth watching that update, that trailer. It's super fun.
Then I think we will collectively tell people to go watch that. And I will make sure to have a look at it after the pod. Yeah, and jumping quickly along from that, Jump Space, formerly known as Jump Ship, will be coming out soon. They have changed names because of some legal issues, but it's the same game. It plays the same way. And it's still a game that I really want to check out together with some of the other people, because it's PvP. No, it's PvE only. It seems challenging. It seems fun. Yeah, that and Sea of Thieves. Pretty please. Anyway, Jump Space coming to your screen soon. Maybe in the way of a game. I don't know. Like, we'll see. I genuinely think it's a cool game. and I think it's going to be one of those where we see a lot of people play it very quickly. So, and from one jumping ship to another, the Expanse, Osiris Reborn.
Yeah.
We don't know much, but we know it's going to be like the Steam page says coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Owlcat Games, the developers of Pathfinder Kingmaker, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, the Rogue Trader game, famous for their actions has consequences storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that might actually be like the perfect developer for that sort of game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were just kind of quietly sitting here waiting for more news about that, and hoping that it doesn't turn into a flop.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It's and something that we know is usually a flop, at least these days, September. Welcome to content creation, everybody. Yeah, I know we kind of ran full speed some of those titles, but there's not much we need to say about them. But if you have some more information about any of them, feel free to leave a comment down below, or send us an angry message, or a nice message, or a happy message, or an indifferent message. You know, just let us know what you think about these titles, or if you have something you're looking forward to. And hopefully you're looking forward more to that than I am looking forward to SUB-tember. Because SUB-tember is a thing that Twitch did and has done year and year again and time again. And I feel like for the last 2 years, it's not really been much. It's just been let's add a discount to the subs. That's it. And then it's only for new subs. It's not even for resubs. And it's like, where's the incentive for me to push this sale? As a partner, as a streamer, as a content creator on this platform, where is my incentive to do this? More subs, sure, yeah, but with all the other discounts and everything else going on, there's nothing extra about this outside of the name. Like previous SUB-tembers have had bonus bits out the wazoo, bonus subs out the wazoo, and yes, they're doing something along that, but that's only for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hear me out. Okay, hear me out. If Twitch said for every 3 subs you get, we'll add 1 more for the entire month, how much more would you push this? Like, as a salesperson, as a content creator, how would that feel as an incentive?
Yeah, I mean, a lot stronger, but also a clear message as well, which makes it. I mean, so one of the things that's been difficult for us is trying to communicate and navigate our way through, Twitch's various decisions and all these discounts and things. And I think part of it is people just get fatigued. It's the same as watching an advert or seeing an ad when you're driving by a store or something, like 15% off or whatever. You can, if you keep doing that all the time everywhere, and we're all surrounded by it constantly, then 2 things happen in my mind, at least. One is, well, somebody made up BS pricing in the first place, because that's not the real price, because that's never the price it's ever on offer for, right? Which we all know has been a part and parcel of retail pricing since day one or whatever. But all the sales and sales on top of sales and all this sort of compounded stuff, it just gets it gets to the point where you don't even really want to, and I say this as a partner, I don't want to hear it no more. Just whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's just oversaturation, too many confusing messages, too many things that they've tried to develop and put and sunk awful lots of money into. So on the one hand, they have this fundamental issue of like, let's try and turn a profit. And on the other hand, they're like, by forcing people to do things that they don't want to do, like your stream together and all that kind of stuff. What they really need, and I will confess that I haven't even gone through all the details yet, but I have a nice article to read about it from Twitch. I need to sit down and really go through it and sort of chew it over. But it's, if I'm an example where I just have this apathy and it's my business, it's my existence, but I have this feeling of apathy with it, then how does everyone else feel? And how do the viewers who might potentially be the ones supporting as part of this feel about it? It's just they just muddy the water a lot with what they're doing and with their communication, and therefore the streamers themselves can be, often best case slightly confused or a bit apathetic towards it, and worst case very confused and either saying the wrong thing or just ignoring it, just sticking their head in the sand because it's overwhelming. We're out there just trying to entertain and do our job, as it were, in the first place, without having all of this other stuff just constantly bashed over our heads.
Yeah, no, it's just always there. Where is the specialty in it?
Mm-hmm.
Where I on one hand, I love the fact that yes, you have discounts available more time of the year. Sure, fine. However, it removes the special feeling of September. It removes the let's do something extra for it. It removes that entire drive for the streamer to be present there. Suddenly you don't need to be part of September in order to have the discounts. You have them all year long. What's the deal? So here's an article on Twitch's own blog from August 12th, 2025. Sub. What's that? The faint cheer of the most rewarding time of the year getting louder by the minute? No. Get out. Stop. Don't do that. That's 34 days of major discounts to the Twitch community. And this year, whatever. Whether you watch on computer or phone, you'll save big on subs. So they say 34 days of September, but what they're saying is 34 days of discounted subs. All month long is 25% off 1 month subs, 3 month subs, and 30% off 6 month subs. And that's the first footnote. That's the first footnote. Discounts apply only to the first term of the new recurring paid subscription. Prime or gift subscription converted to paid subscription, and then go through that entire list.
Well, I'm not sure how to read that, whether that means that only applies to the 6 month subs, where the asterisk is. That's unclear.
No.
It could just be poorly formatted.
It is poorly formatted, but it's like it only applies. So these discounts only apply to the first part of it. So if you sign up for 3 months, you get 25% off that first 3 month, which is fine. But it's so poorly written. Like that entire blurb is so poorly written. And they're like, even though you'll be getting more for less, don't worry. During September, Twitch covers the difference, so your favorite streamers will still get the same payout as full price sub. So at least they're now that is more clear. They're clearly saying it that normal discounts take away from the streamer. This one doesn't. Yeah. Bonus gift subs from September 26th. At 10 a.m. Pacific time to October 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we're capping off September with a bonus gift sub finale. Instead of a full month, like they've done before, they now do this. So for every 5 gift subs purchased for a channel, Valorant will add 1 bonus gift sub in celebration. Sure. And then there's the next caveat that bonus gift sub apply only to new 1-month community gift subscription purchases of 5 or more. Bonus gift subscriptions are granted the community in the same tier as purchased. So, like, they're making it like they're wrapping it in to be all nice and cool and such. It's just why they I love the fact that September is still around, but it's too much.
Well, exactly. They've made it. They've overcomplicated it. I think that's the thing, is that whole discount thing has muddied the water terribly. Like, I've just turned it off because I just find it irritating from a business point of view, just to constantly make a fanfare about these discounts without making it clear what you're doing is essentially giving less. The idea is that many more people will subscribe, and that's not the reality for a lot of people, certainly not for me. The reality is people who can afford and choose to continue to sub, and a lot of them will then take a discount because it's on offer. So in the end, I get a net revenue reduction.
Yep.
Which that's not my fault that Twitch can't turn a profit, because they invest in things that I don't agree with, that are not a priority. So on the one hand, they're forcing me to behave differently and, hey, collaborate. Well, sometimes you just want to do your own thing. Can't I just be me and offer my entertainment to people and then collaborate when I choose to do so, rather than I've got to collaborate more and more all the time, because if I don't, I'm not getting pushed and presented on the platform. So they got that on the one hand, and on the other hand, also here, celebrate with your community as you get less revenue. Thanks.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Make me do things and change the way I want to offer my entertainment on the one hand, and end up getting paid less for it. It doesn't, that's how it kind of feels, even though there's obviously some emotion in that. And in between somewhere you could nitpick out the full facts and truth of it all, but that's the sentiment. And when you have to motivate yourself, because you have to motivate yourself for anything in life, even if it's an art and a form and something that you want to do, you still need to get up. You still need to get over the daily whatever's on your mind or your body or whatever, and then push through that and then present something that's fun and engaging for people. So again, it's not a sub story, but it's like you can't just do these things magically because you exist or whatever, right? So with that all tied together, it's and then it just becoming confusing and something you have to explain, like all the explanations and additional stuff that we've gone through for the Partner Plus thing, try to make that add up, and then again compounding with ad revenue not being as beneficial as it was when it first came in with much fanfare. It's like basically things are becoming harder, right? Well, that's the way of the world. Things are difficult. And then we're supposed to, as you put it quite succinctly, get all excited and buy into all this fanfare about this stuff. It's like with all these caveats and things, it's like, no, just it would be nice to have September and just say it's really simple. This is how it works. You get a discount. I get paid fairly. Twitch covers the difference. It's awesome. It's only 1 month a year because we don't want them to go fully bankrupt and collapse, right? But look, we can celebrate this and see it as like almost a relief month, as it were, and lead up into like big pushes for Christmas and entertainment, while still doing the thing that we love doing and providing the entertainment and art, So because they muddy the water with it all, with all these other things that I've mentioned, and then they add all these caveats and hoops to jump through in that, it's just, it's just confusion and feels like a compounding on top of something that really should be a lot simpler.
But wait, there's more. You get an exclusive badge. Sub, gift, or use bits during September to unlock the SUB-tember 2025 badge. And so, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's something called treasure trains. Have you heard of those?
No.
Oh boy, you're gonna love this. So a treasure train is a type of hype train that can happen
Okay, yeah, I'm reading it now.
You know what happens during a treasure train? There's 35% off on gift subs. And instead of that starting at level 5, during September, that'll start at level 2. And I'm going to guess that that's not part of the stuff that Twitch makes up the difference in.
They certainly don't make it clear if it is or it isn't.
No.
Because I would assume it isn't, and it's part of triggering that 35% thing, which is exactly the thing I've turned off because it's annoying. So, great, another feature I just won't
Keep in mind, treasure trains and running a gift sub promotion on your own channel won't be active during the bonus gift sub finale. So, okay, yeah. So it's just... It feels like someone at Twitch saw, oh shit, SUB-tember from that 1 year was super popular. Let's figure out a way of doing that more times a year. And all streamers were like, okay, sounds good, but how are you gonna do that without like really big sponsors that want to be part of this and that are willing to do this? Because I, as a streamer, I sit here and I do realize that, this will of course take a cut out of Twitch. And which is why I'm okay with it being once a year. But once you start, like you've said, and we've said before, and there's been horses being whipped, that's the wrong one. Know your role!
I didn't expect horses to sound like that when they're being whipped. I'm going to be honest.
I'm just glad I don't have the lizard button on this right now. But yeah, let's whip that horse again, shall we? When you start removing revenue from the streamer, the joy and the willingness to stream and the content created is going to take a hit. And that means you are likely to lose viewers, which means that you are likely to lose revenue, and that means Twitch loses revenue. I feel like they're just shooting themselves in the foot here. More and more, several times. They're trying to fix their own broken foot by shooting the other one. Like that's where they're going with this, and that's how it feels how they're approaching this. So
You know why they're doing it though? I've just realized why they're doing it. Because they get a 35% discount off if they go to the doctor with 2 broken feet. Someone sold them that deal.
I mean, something American healthcare. It's gonna have a sip of water and ignore that. Anyway, September's coming. None of us are super excited about it, but I would be super excited about it if I knew that this was a once a year event where there was special stuff going on. Goodies to, like, let's say that you've applied a 6-month sub, and for that first 6 months you got tier 2 for the price of tier 1. I would be okay with that. And then you get a notification after that saying, oh, you are now going back down to having a normal tier 1. Would you like to continue at tier 2? Half a year later, something along those lines. I don't know, but make it special, make it simple, make it straightforward, and make it make sense for a full month and not just 1 week. Then I can be on board and sell it.
I think I agree. I think simplifying it, making it so that it's a lot easier for both the streamers and the viewers to understand. It's not uber complex. It's just complex enough that it becomes annoying and boring. How many people, like, what do I do? Post that link during the whole month and say, read this article. It's got all the details in it, right? How many people are going to want to do that? How many people are going to fall asleep after the first, like, there's no TLDR at the top or whatever? And so on. And then the best case scenario is you probably get a few people chip in on it, and a few other people just ask you lots of questions, and you get lots of engagement, and you spend several hours of your month talking about how that works every day and how boring that's going to be. So simplify it, cut it down, and if you want to do something more, and you want to offer a kind of an equivalent of discounts or whatever that don't affect the streamers so much, then start negotiating better sponsorships or whatever with your advertisers or with your like Valorants and your Fortnites and all these kind of things. You can't tell me these things aren't out there. There's multi-million-dollar competitions. There's all sorts of things. Why don't they do a thing like each month, make it competitive? September is just Twitch. That's just a Twitch thing, and it shouldn't be. You shouldn't muddy that any further. Maybe you could have one sponsor for that week. That would be okay if it was just that was the only bit. But what about like, okay, October could be sponsored by Fortnite and so on and so forth. What about going around the houses, an EA month or whatever, and give people benefits, a general benefit, and then also a special benefit if you play games from specific publishers or a specific game, that kind of thing. Make it, open. That could open up potentially, and I'm sure they're probably looking into this and they're smarter people than me. But I would be much more inclined to engage on that, and as both an audience member and as a content creator, on the basis of like, well, this month we've got these 3 sponsors lining up, so if you do stuff in their direction or whatever, you can get all these extra benefits, but in any case we've got this core benefit that's available to you, and it could be like a 2% off, but it's 2% that's covered by the sponsored deal rather than 2% that you take a hit on your revenue as well. I think people, because again, the general fatigue of like just putting a sale sign on something, it doesn't necessarily intrinsically change the value of that thing to you. It might make it look more affordable, but is it actually a value to you? And does it help in the way you think it does? Because I think that's probably the vast majority of people who look at a discount and think, oh, cool, we can help buy an extra sub or gift an extra sub, and that helps creator ABC. Like, not really. Yes, but not as much, and certainly psychologically, not to the extent that it's kind of the way it's advertised to be helping.
Indeed. And moving swiftly along to other parts about monetization on Twitch. This is an article that came out on the same blog and just days after we had released the July episode. July 29th, 2025, by Mike Minton. Monetization for all. Which basically means, TLDR, you don't even have to be an affiliate or a partner to monetize your channel. Plenty of caveats here, though. So very quickly, we're always looking for more ways to make it easier to build a community, and today I'm excited to share how we're helping new streamers jumpstart their communities using our site of streamer tools. Unlocking access to more tools, we've built a robust set of tools to help streamers build blah 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 blah. We've heard this spiel before. It's about we're giving all streamers access to some of our best monetization and community building tools, including bits, subs, emotes, badges, and channel points. We made this decision because we know streaming takes time, energy, and effort, and we want to ensure you've got the tools you'll need to be successful from day one. We're starting this rollout in the US this week, and we'll expand to all streamers globally later this year. Now, here's the big difference. For you to be able to get the payout, you'll still need to be at least affiliated. But what they're doing here, and I quote, to give streamers flexibility while they work toward their first payout, we recently launched Spendable Balance in the US. With Spendable Balance, streamers can purchase bits and gift subs using their Twitch account balance. So essentially the money just stays in the Twitch system as opposed to going out and then coming back in as purchases. This is a great option for streamers who are not regularly hitting the minimum payout threshold or not yet eligible for a payout. Streamers can support other streamers they love or gift subs to members of their own community. Some of the benefits of using Spendable Balance include unlock your balance before meeting the $50 minimum payout threshold. You're in control, as in you decide whether you use your spendable balance at checkout. You'll automatically receive a payout when you reach the $50 minimum payout threshold if you're eligible. Spendable balance is currently available to streamers in the US only, but we'll be rolling it out globally over the course of this year. And they also want to welcome more people to the affiliate program. So, and this is the next segment and part of that whole deal, where they say, finally, after speaking with many streamers, both those who have been streaming for years and those who are just getting started, it became clear that we need to adjust our affiliate qualification criteria. As we leaned in, we heard that requiring an average concurrent viewership, for example, created a disadvantage for streamers who wanted to stream more, regardless of how many viewers they had. We also heard that streaming regularly for extended periods of time was a real challenge for those always working on or studying full-time. So early in June, we updated the criteria to become an affiliate to make the affiliate status easier to achieve for new streamers. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, I don't know how to feel about this, but yeah. Old requirements, stream for 8 hours. New requirements, 4 hours. Old requirement, stream on 7 different days. New, 4 different. Old requirement, average 3 concurrent viewers. Updated, minimum 3 average concurrent viewers on 4 different days. And old requirement, 50 followers. New requirement, 25 followers. Streamers who hit these milestones should be automatically receiving an email and a notification on their creator dashboard to start onboarding process. We've already seen a promising increase in the number of qualifying affiliates, and I'm excited to welcome more deserving streamers to our affiliate ranks in the future. It's been great to see so many new streamers get started on Twitch, and I look forward to seeing what the next generation of content creators will come up with. For more information, blah, 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 help center. And I'm not sure how I feel about this. I can see the good in this. And I can definitely also, like, I'm not sure this is their intention. However, the lowering of the requirements, but allowing for longer periods when you first stream, I like, it might be a good balance. I'm not sure how. Then again, I don't really need to think too hard about this right now. But the text that they're choosing to use there, like the words they're choosing to use, very much reflects the idea to make it have a better work stream balance, or life/stream balance, if that makes sense. Like, they want to allow people to not sit there and have this fear of missing out on becoming an affiliate, or the fear of missing out on streaming because they need to focus on studying and so on, so that they're making that part easier. Like, that's at least how it reads in my head, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
do
I
you
think that's like probably what they're aiming for, is like, we're opening this up to more people. I think the cynical side of me thinks, well, this is just adding to the race to the bottom that I perceive it to be. So, but maybe to stay away from more subjective things of like, well, you know, anybody can turn their computer on and theoretically stream something, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's what I would consider entertaining, but then who am I to judge, right? So, and who cares? If people enjoy it, they enjoy it. I think the two things that bother me about it are, on the one hand, I feel like it's a further degradation and devaluing of being an affiliate, and especially a partner, where we've had this, we whipped that horse to death, but they've just eroded away the value, I think, of partner over time. And it's in the time that I've been on Twitch since before, and then first as a viewer, then as a streamer, and then as a broader content creator, and then an affiliate, and then a partner. I feel like they've eroded and devalued the partner badge. I suppose my concern on a more technical and possibly linked to the financial aspect is opening up so that more, anybody could monetize, encouraging more people to come onto the platform. But if you add 1 million extra streamers, but all of them sit there trying to get to affiliate and at that, and then stay, because how many affiliates feel that stress of like, well, they can't make partner because they can't do things regularly, they can't get enough CC, whatever. And I know they've degraded lowered the bars and everything there as well, but there's still going to be the vast majority who don't make it to that. So are they banking on revenue for people that don't make it or don't push beyond affiliate, but still bring in additional revenue for them? And if they're already not meeting their costs and not able to make a profit after so many years, right? How does there's a fundamental level of technology and costs that you need to operate the platform and per streamer or whatever, right? And I don't know all of those numbers in and out, of course, right? Because a lot of that's unclear. I'm sure there's people that can dig into it a little bit. But I'm guessing that Mike Minton and the teams there have looked at this. But where's the tipping point positively of you add 1 million additional people on who may or may not make affiliate, and then may or may not, or probably would sit at affiliate for quite an extended period? How operating that and providing that bandwidth and that storage, and I know they've done storage cuts and whatever, but how, if you already in your model don't break even and make the fabled profit, then how does having 1 million extra people, most of whom 99% or whatever, 95% of whom will at best make affiliate and then trundle along at that level for all those other work-life balance reasons, whatever, right? How does that help the overall situation? Because is that influx of 1 million additional people sitting there with 5 people watching or whatever, and ever declining ad revenues and whatever else is going on, and all these discounts and things, so that you're kind of disincentivizing people to push further anyway, even if they could? How is that going to help the situation when you've got all of these technology costs and everything else, your cost base? I just don't see how it adds up. Obviously, lots of information isn't available to be on it, but in my mind, I can't picture how that's a path to success when they're already struggling to make money.
Yeah, this is where it would be interesting to be a fly on the wall in some of those meetings and see some of the data that they sit on. Even just looking back at my own knowledge of some of the operating costs in a normal day-to-day life, IT hosts and server side of it all, and seeing how little information was given to the customer itself about the running costs, and how it was split, and how many customers would need to be on, and how much even a tiny customer cost, everything. Like, even that tiny piece of data makes me curious about what are the costs. Like, because I know, like you said, server hosting costs something. Network hosting costs something. Like, all of these tiny elements, like we're talking, if you need to activate one more rack in your server room, it leads to more power drain, which leads to more cost. And it's like, I would love to see the math there, because the math is definitely there. And that's what's so baffling to me. Like, with the amount of data they're sitting on, like, there has to be a reason why they're pushing for this. Like, this can't just be pulled out of thin air. God, I hope it's not just pulled out of thin air.
I mean, the only thing I can imagine in a more positive aspect could be that they've got certain like thresholds and whatever. Like a lot of these things boil down to like if you get so and so more people onboarded and whatever, like the classic growth trap thing.
Yeah.
Possibly there's a thing in conjunction with sponsors and advertisers where it's like there's more and more people coming on, people like live streaming from their phone out and about in real life kind of stuff and all that kind of thing. Maybe they're like, if you look at it more broadly in those kind of categories and the just chattings and whatever, maybe there's a whole load of advertisers and sponsors lined up that are like, well, keep driving this because this is driving people, like driving traffic, driving purchases, whatever for us. So if you can get us 250,000 new streamers that maybe are streaming to 3 to 8 people each, then that is proven through all of our data to equate to like, you know, a 10% uptick in sales or whatever. So we will therefore give you, you know, 5% of that as additional budget on your end or whatever. You know, it's possible that that's what's kind of linked, and you have to see the whole chain of events and the contracts, because I know they've been negotiating very different contracts with sponsors and advertisers and stuff, and you know, clearly because they've gone fully down the advertiser rabbit hole. It's just the bit where I don't believe it is that the evidence that I can reference, the data, the literal facts from me over the last sort of 3 years of the advertising apocalypse or whatever we want to call it, like half joking, is that the revenue like year on year is a downward trend. So you got that, and then you've got this whole viewbot thing going on in the background as well, where they're going to like be culling a lot of numbers because they'll be dealing with viewbots a lot better. I know we haven't gone into that subject in depth, but just, you know, loosely to throw that angle in as well, overall numbers will go down on the platform because, you know, and the play will be, well, these are real numbers, so these are real people, and therefore everything is healthy and it's healthier than ever before. And I think it will be. I think it's a net overall good thing. But the initial signal to advertisers and sponsors will be, oh, hang on a minute, your numbers aren't exactly going up here. So the classical market mentality is like, well, no growth, therefore not necessarily worth investing in or whatever. So it's going to be, I know it's incredibly tricky for them to navigate. But that's what makes me a little bit skeptical of like, well, now you've got this declined revenue stream from advertising times a million additional people showing to 5 to 10 people without any consideration of quality and of content and all the rest of it. You know, do those numbers add up? I guess, you know, ultimately the time will tell. You know, in a year or something, we'll see some of the reality of that, I guess. But that's kind of my concern and my skepticism is, I feel like I feel like they don't have a good handle on quality control, and again, that is a very subjective part of that. And I just don't know how those raw numbers coming in at that kind of bottom end, and a lot of them that will just sit there. How does that equate to what's the linkage to sponsors and revenue streams on the back end? Maybe they just have loads of good deals.
I would love to see the data on like how much what is the value of one person seeing one particular ad, or not even just one particular ad. Like let's say one person viewing for 5 hours on one streamer. That means that streamer has one concurrent viewer for 5 hours, and they run the ads, you know, at the optimal rate of whatever, you know, 3 minutes per hour or whatever it is. And And that means you have one person who has then seen 15 minutes of ads, right? Over those 5 hours in total. What is the worth? Like, what is the dollar worth of that one person? Like, so there has to be a benefit for them to try to push for getting in so many more monetized people. Like you're saying, like there has to be a reason behind it. There has to be a reason and some math that makes sense. And if you have an influx of people that are streaming that can be monetized, even with just like the lower third kind of banner ad thing, you're still bringing in that money. And I would like to see, like, because if, let's throw out a number there, let's say there are 100,000 people that do that to one person each, so that's 100,000 people watching that. If you suddenly expand that gap from 100,000 to 200,000, you've doubled that revenue. But what is the actual income? That is where I'm kind of curious. Like, what is, like, does it outweigh the cost of those 100,000 people incoming? That's where I'm curious. Like, I don't know if any of these numbers are actually available. There are some tools out there where you can calculate how much it costs for one person to stream video over X amount of hours and in what quality and such, but I'm not sure it completely covers the cost of being a Twitch streamer, because there's some, like, since it's internal and everything, there's a few things to take away from some of those costs. So yeah, it would be very curious to see some of that.
I suppose there's another angle as well. We should probably wrap up and move to the next topics, but I suppose one other aspect that we won't go into detail, but is the sentiment and the, like, looking like you're a thriving, healthy, and like growing part of the, because they are the dominant live streaming service, but there are a few others that have kind of really, you know, upped their game a little bit and taken parts of the market as well and have their own niches. So I suppose some of it is also to advertise to the parent company as well as sponsors and advertisers. Hey, look, we're still way ahead. We're still definitely, you know, the pound for pound champs here, and this is where your money's going to be safest. And look what we're doing to bring more people. That's more eyeballs looking at your products. There's a part of this which will also be just purely that angle as well, and that's a valid angle. So even it might not be measured exactly in bottom line and income or whatever and their profit, it's, they also can't afford to you know, be seen to be constantly on the ropes and whatnot. Like, you know, it's like Ali on the rope-a-dope against Foreman. There's still no two ways about it that Foreman beat the absolute heck out of Ali for most of that fight. Sure, he won, but do you want to be the winner that comes out battered and bruised and with a long-term concussion? I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. We'll keep watching the space, but hopefully it's an entertaining conversation nonetheless for our listeners.
I just had another thought here, just on the end of that little segment there. How many new people are coming to Twitch? And not as streamers, I mean as viewers. They're like that is a part of the conversation that I don't think I've thought about before, at least. Like, where are these new people coming from? What is bringing them in? Like, a new streamer starting up is not necessarily going to be the thing that brings in people. So where are they coming from? Like, where's the influx of people? So
that's where I worry a little bit about the quality thing over quantity, because and it's a difficult one, but I worry because, like, if you have a certain, you know, minimal level of quality or whatever, which is, I guess, you know, terms of service and things like that, trying to orient people in that direction, and they can't overreach into, and this is what it looks like when you get your camera set up properly and all that kind of thing, right? But is it word of mouth, as you know, and whatever other discovery tools, and in terms of like the quality is getting out there, this is the place to be, this is the most fun experience you can have with live stream, which I think is where, you know, Twitch's place. But there's so many people, myself included, like 6-7 years ago, before I didn't even know what Twitch was. Never watched it. I just was a workaholic and I just worked my way through. Even being in IT, I just didn't know what Twitch and all that stuff was. Never stumbled into it. And then about a year or so before I started streaming and thought this could be a fun hobby, I started viewing it. I'd actually genuinely don't remember. I think it was probably just through, ironically, YouTube and content creators, where it's like, oh, I can actually watch some of those things that I've enjoyed on YouTube whilst people are doing it live. So, yeah, it's a valid question how people are coming in, and I suppose that's where the whole more and more is always better, more eyeballs, more possibilities. Because if a lot of it is word of mouth, then and for the young generations coming through now, they've grown up with a lot of this technology and AI and all these algorithms and stuff. So it will be probably a lot more, you know, and they're all staring at their phones all day long and all the rest of it. So there's maybe an opportunity there, is what Twitch is trying to grasp a hold of like, eyeballs are going to end up here sooner or later. It'll be a clip, be a TikTok. You know, that's why you've got these YouTube shorts and TikToks and things that say so and so on Twitch, because that's their hook. You know, so time will tell.
And I think definitely what you're saying there, like, because they changed, like Twitch changed their tune, something fierce, on allowing that for both partners and others. And I think they saw, oh yeah, you know what? As soon as we said no to any of that, the numbers just kind of started declining, or at the very least just being flat. And then they changed their tune on, you know, post clips, post YouTubes, and stream other places too, but keep us as the main. You know, I think you're on to something there, that people will be coming in there and they want more in that way. So interesting. If you know more about this, please let us know. We are incredibly curious and we want to learn more. And speaking of being curious, I know what some people are curious for. Know your role. There we go. Finally, I can use that in the right period. I have two buttons on this profile. I know I've done this before. And I know we have an episode called Know Your Buttons, so we can't use that again. Unless we do the episode 2 or part 2 or whatever. Anyway. Conquest and Cataclysm, all the stuff that we have recorded is now edited and has been posted for scheduling. And is scheduled to be released. So, yeah. For those looking for that, it is slowly but surely getting out there. Which also means I have poked the group and asked, when can we record? And I so far have one reply from Damien saying, I'm good and ready whenever. Which I don't believe. One, because it's Damien, and, well, at the same time, I also believe it because it's Damien. So there's that. But it's not helpful. It's not specific enough. Give me specificity. We've gone on and on about the lack of specificity. Anyway, all of the stuff we have so far is recorded and edited and posted. I fought my way through one of the episodes with audio levels. Holy crap. that took a lot out of me, I won't lie. But I managed to get through it, and I know it's not perfect. But hopefully it'll be good. It'll be good enough, and more future updates and such will be better. Updates? Episodes was the word I was looking for. Steam popped up and said it was updating something. The word update popped in. Other exciting news from the role-playing world is, of course, that Critical Role is getting a Daggerheart-based Telltale Games game out there. And I am very excited to hear that. And from the news that we hear about it, it sounds like it should be true to the old school Telltale games kind of way of doing things. So very, very excited to hear about that.
That's cool. I played the Expanse one of the Telltales, and it was super fun.
Telltale games like the werewolf one and some of the others, they are fabulous. I can fully recommend some of them. So so yeah, they're excellent story driven games. But speaking of story and such, I will soon be testing something with fellow CC ClydePlaysLive, where he is doing something called Shadow Dark, the Cursed Knight of Crestmore, where I will be joined by other guest players such as his friend Jimbo, our friend Just Check the Good Egg, and some person from the community called Maringana. I'm not sure who that is.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, I think I've seen the person around. I'm not sure. But yeah, we will be doing a test for one shot of running through a dungeon, and I'm very excited to see that, because I've been looking into it and it looks really, really, really cool. It does.
Neat.
There's gonna be pre-generated characters, and Shadow Dark is something that lends itself to storytelling. So yeah, very excited. Very excited. Anything else? I think I forgot something.
Nothing's on the list.
No, nothing's on the list. But there will be more on the list at some point in the near future. We do know that there are some stirrings in the worlds of the dim. For those who know, you know. Anyway, we're gonna move straight along to community contributions. Mari both has a question, a comment, and a little victory. But we're gonna hop straight to Zig first, because that was a quick comment on the YouTube video of the last episode, where he says, "Did Grumbles call Dune a sandbox game? Really?" Yes, Grumbles. He did.
Yep.
He did.
Can confirm.
Yep. And that's all.
I don't really have a problem with sand. I have heard from some people that it can be annoying and gets in everywhere, but I'm fine with it.
It's completely unrelated. I recently saw a TikTok about an Australian that went to France, and then they went to the beach, and the beach was just tiny pebbles instead of being actual sand. And this Australian was elated because she could actually brush the pebbles off her towel instead of standing there for hours with a brush and nothing getting anywhere. So she actually enjoyed that. Yeah, sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. Let's start with the little victory from Mari. Her little victory is another successful LARP weekend where I was helping players find the right end of their weapon. Not sure what she means by that, but sure.
The pointy end at them.
Yeah, the pointy end. And then she has a question. She has a long comment where we will be getting back into the Dune conversation. I want to point that out, but first she has a question for us. Autumn is upon us, the colorful season full of falling leaves, cozy blankets, and hot drinks. What is your favorite milky/creamy, frothy hot drink? Well, she didn't add frothy. I added frothy. And you know what? I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm really partial to a good cappuccino, but a hot chocolate, like just cocoa with milk in it, and I'm happy. Like that's all it takes for me to be happy. Like, and I think in its simplicity, that's what I prefer, because it's straightforward. It's reminiscent of when I was a kid, and it's just, yeah. And you get to sit there and enjoy a chocolatey, nice little drink. How about you?
Yeah, pretty similar. A good, as you said, a good cappuccino, but a cafe latte with maybe 1 or 2 espresso shots. A lot of it comes down to like good milk,
Yes.
full fat, no messing around. Better for you anyway. And but yeah, cocoa. I really enjoy a good cup of cocoa, but it's something I have very rarely. It's like a real treat, like a special, like, you know, probably could count on one hand how many, or two maybe, how many I'd have in a year. But there's something about that, like a cold Sunday evening or something. Like everything's done, everything's like relaxing or whatever. There's a book or a roaring fire or something like that. Would be a perfect accompaniment for sure. Yeah, but like, so that's like the child drink, and then the adult drink is like the cafe latte, just loads of full fat milk, and then just like 1 or 2 strong espresso shots in the bottom of it or something. Would do it for me. I mean, there's other things, you know, like chai lattes and stuff like that, but yeah, keep it simple.
I saw someone recently that did just frothed up hot milk and then spicy honey. You know, chili infused honey. That was it. Like, but no, we're not talking super chili infused. Like just a tiny bit of heat to it, and just froth that up together. And I was thinking, that does sound pretty good. But I think, just for the simplicity of it, like, because there's plenty of them out there, you know, where you can have so many different variations with cinnamon and, like you said, chai and other things, where you just load them up, or like be double, triple reheated, whatever. And but for me, I think it has to be that simplicity that I go for. It's just, yeah.
I think the key thing is it's probably I don't think it's underappreciated, but probably understated. I would say, blessed be the milk givers. All things that give us milk.
Yeah.
You are truly appreciated and cherished.
Almonds, oats.
I wasn't thinking so much in that direction, but yeah.
No, I'm with you. No, I stumbled upon a short where it was a Twitch clip where some guy was sitting there going, "So how do you milk an almond anyway? Like, where is the nipple?" And I was like, okay, that's enough internet for today. Yeah. I'm gone. I'm done. Just like, I know it was probably being facetious, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Not.
No, but that kind of stuff will just drive you nuts.
Yeah. I wonder if I get crushed my nuts. I really should play that clip right now, but whatever.
No.
However, we do have a pretty big question from Mari regarding Dune. Well, it's not a question. It's a pretty big content, though, because we talked about a lot Dune last time, and it kind of touches on something that we both agree on. It's the state of the game and the need for the game, and this is where there's going to be. I feel heavily about this because of my experience with similar type games. But the comment from Mari on YouTube on the July episode is, Dune is a fun game, but I understand that there's a missing endgame content and the deep desert, as well as the griefing tactics are difficult to balance. I hope Funcom will find their way, because it would be sad if Dune died. as someone who hasn't even finished all the contract chains and quest lines, I still got plenty of content to go. But for people who did all these things, it's hard to remain interested if you aren't doing PvP. And even if you do, the PvP content as well might need sharpening, I believe, in Funcom. And I fully agree with this. This comment, though, was before we knew more about Chapter 2. I want to point that out. So we know there's going to be more PvE content. We know there's going to be story, which is good. And you mentioned something about PvP arenas, which is also something I know I've talked about, that it needs instanced and dedicated PvP. But I also feel like, and I'm still, I know they're not similar in enough, but World of Warcraft did something very right with how they treated the dedicated loot areas. Like, and by dedicated loot areas, I mean, for instance, such as the testing stations and some of the areas where, like, the crashed ships. You have these areas where you have to go in to get specific loot, and I feel there's something about the way the world behaves where you always need to go for chests where it feels off for me. Like, I think I miss just the idea of, I'm just gonna walk around in this area, and let's say the Misataril area, and stab NPCs constantly, and then one by one get some of the, the tubing or whatever we're looking for, or some of the machinery stuff or such. Like, just know that it's a drop instead of it being stuff from a chest. The chests can be bonuses, but I would like to see and know that, okay, if I stab these people in this area, I might have a chance of getting that. And then things like be that more specific unique gear can be on a list of stuff in these instances. And I feel like the testing stations and other areas, like caves and such, there could be locked off areas that once you go through that first penta shield, you're within that instance. And you can do that, you can go through that, and then it'll be ready to do in another one in an hour. You get out of it, and then it'll have to reset. It'll take an hour to reset, but you can then do it in an hour. But it needs to be locked off. Like, it's and one of the things that it would help them do, if they have that, like, if you have just this tiny instance area like they do in Conan, and they've done in Conan for a long time, because the first dungeon you do in Conan is in a separate instance area. Like, you load into it. It's not just open world. They have a lot of open world stuff, and that's cool. And I really think we need more open world bosses and events in Dune, but that's for a different time. But just this grindable, straightforward, expected, and no, not expected. Oh God, brain, help me! I'm losing the train of thought here. Like, it needs to be
like more random than predictable, like less predictable.
No, like, the idea is that you know that the assassin's super dagger or whatever, just a random name. It is in this testing station, and it drops from that one boss in the testing station, but he has a drop table, right?
Yeah.
So you have to go in, you have to kill him in order to be able to get it. And I feel like that's something that they're missing. Like, you know, you have the like in Warcraft, you have your classes with gear that makes sense for your class. And I feel like if I could find something that made sense for a sword master to have, like it gave the sword master an extra oomph in being a sword master, it would be cool to have this drop from this one guy. Like, be that something that gives extra stats that are beneficial for me as a sword master.
Yeah,
Because then
I think they have that to some degree.
Yeah.
Like either doors that don't open until you've defeated people in a room. So I think they have like a lot of the mechanical aspects of that. It may be, I think arguably it's there, but it's kind of masked because a lot of the experience is essentially the same loop. There's a lot of like, oh, it's this station, so you go left, and then there's like 3 or 4 types of station, and you kind of, I think it becomes a little bit too predictable. I think
exactly.
some of the
Sorry, I need to just very quickly jump in there, like, because Doc mentioned this, and that's when it hit me that yes, it's too predictable. Like, we know that it's a testing station, we know it's an instance, we know it's going to be humans. Like, the variation of the area and the enemies isn't big enough, I feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
No. You're exactly. I think that's how I feel as well. It's like the testing stations. We've got people in our guild who do like, oh, today I'm going through that testing station loop. I do these 3 places because I want to get this and this drop or whatever, and that's cool if people enjoy that. But that's not something I enjoy. Like there's reasons why I haven't done a lot of those loops, because the only fun I have out of it really is the first time, or haven't done it for a long time. In this case, it's like remembering and, oh yeah, I forgot about this bit and that, or doing it in a group, because then it's more because we're in the group and it's the group dynamic rather than the actual place and the because I think there is a lack of variety, and I think that they can solve that in one regard in terms of the locations, because they can add instance locations and locked in areas and whatever. So I don't worry about that, but I do see that they need to do it, because right now, like my playthrough of it, and again, 400 plus hours, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but I've enjoyed it. The latter 200 hours I've enjoyed because of playing with the group, the guild, not because of purely the game itself. I like the game. I love being immersed in that world, but I've been doing things that are more cooperative with the guild rather than for the sake of the actual game content itself. Because after the first 200 hours, there's only so many testing stations I need to go through to meet the same group, to see the same boxes, to see, you know, like that. Some of the deep desert stuff actually changes it up quite significantly in a very positive way.
Yeah.
But again, the mixture of like, is it PvE? Is it safe for me to do? Am I even able to with the level of skills and things that I have? So there's some good challenges there and some good variation, which I very much enjoyed in the deep desert. So what they've proven to me is they have all the tools in the toolkit, plus another 10 years ahead of them to develop more and bring different iterations. Now what we need to see, which I don't think we'll get a lot of it in the chapter 2, except for this one big harvester event. That'll be interesting to see. But what they need to probably prove in like update 3, chapter 3, will be, and now look at the like they need to bring in, either it'll be the other faction that will come in, or they need to bring some other element that is so radically different to the ones that are there. Like even the 3 or 4 factions that are there now, could I hand on heart say, okay, that's a Kirab guy, that's a Slaver guy, that's a this guy, that's a that guy, unless they're like Harkonnen, or not even the Atreides really, because they look very similar. So basically a Harkonnen looking person, okay, that's distinct. The others, it's all a bit of a muted palette, very much like an overlap kind of thing, and therefore I end up in my brain goes into the, I'm just pushing the buttons, going through the motions kind of thing to get to the thing I want at the end of the box.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, part of the reason why there's been a big drop off, because there isn't significant variation and sufficient variation in order to keep drawing people back in. I think if you like, again, parallels or contrasting with Conan, if you go to the jungle, you're suddenly fighting big kitties and lizard people, or
Yes, exactly.
jungle cannibals and that kind of thing. And if you go in the desert, you're facing these people. And if you go here to the unnamed city, you're facing the undead, or a dragon is around the corner or whatever. And they haven't got that variety in Dune yet. So because it's predominantly humanoid things that you're facing, or humans, you do have an additional layer of challenge about how to make that sufficiently distinct and varied to make it fun and trigger different responses in the brain. Because at the moment, there's no moment of like, oh, that thing's terrifying, or oh, that's really awesome. Look at that, that's amazing. Again, Conan's shown that having that variety is part of what keeps people going back through those loops.
Indeed.
Because you literally can say, I'm going to go to the Dregs and see like Lizard Lady, or I'm going to go to the jungle and see tree dwellers or whatever, or giant cats and whatever. I'm going to go down up the river and see crocodiles, or I'm going to go see frost giants, demon bats, whatever. List out in June, oh, I'm going to go and see these humans with a slight red tint to their jacket. I'm going to go and see these humans over here with like a helmet with glowing eyes on it, and that's it. And I think that's so, like, as we're both saying,
to bring back the Warcraft thing, like, you have very specific biomes and such, and in essence, you'll meet trolls wherever, you'll meet elves wherever, but they are distinctly different, and the animals are distinctly different. And Conan has that same thing. Like, yes, there's humans everywhere, but there's other things too. But even the humans, like, you have the pirates in certain areas, and then you have these nasty slaver people in other areas, and they look distinctly different.
Yep.
And
different voice lines, different. The whole thing is distinct. Whereas, is to make a joke from Conan, if every single tribe you went up to and every biome, even the frost giants, if they all just went okie pokey, mate, and tried to stab you with a rapier like the pirates do, you'd be like, oh. Yeah. And that's a little bit what it feels like in Dune. It's like, there's someone there.
I will have your water. And then it's like,
and the other like five, again, not to be mean about the quality and everything, but I think the variety is definitely, I think they chose, obviously it's time boxing as well. I think it's really solid for what it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put more than 400 hours into it. Now it's like we need to see chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and then we'll see how well they've kind of delivered on that framework. The framework is excellent, but that's not enough to keep people coming back.
So, in short, what I'd like to see is more group-based instances. Like, make it make sense for me to find a full party to go into instances to find loot. Give me an area with, let's say there's Masquerade that have a buggy with a rocket launcher on it as an open world boss or whatever. Make it make sense that I can go and kill this as part of what's going on. Let's see more of the animals. Heck, let's see a young worm even as maybe something you can fight. Some of these hawks, and let's see other factions. But I think first and foremost, make the different factions of humans feel more separate. Make them feel more distinct. Have their own feel. Like, they have tiny bit of that, but it's a bit too samey right now. So but like you said, I am super impressed with what they've made so far. And I very much look forward to even more stuff. But yeah, so I know early on, I mentioned this with endgame stuff and being kind of pessimistic about it. This, like, we're starting to kind of find the essence of why because I said I couldn't quite put my finger on it. This is it. I think we found that. But in finding that, and in more people kind of voicing that, I think it's going to be possible for Funcom to work on it, to find good solutions and bring content that makes sense. And with the entire world of Arrakis open to us, yes, and possibly even other worlds, who knows.
Yep.
And I will not abandon this game, not yet. Like, unless we hear that, oh no, we're gonna bring in another faction of people that look exactly like all the others and they do the same thing, they stab. Okay. Like, I know they're bound by lore, I know they're bound a bit like that, but there has to be some creative opportunity you have in order to show this off, because I promise you the Dune purists are already gone. They might not even have entered the game. And yeah, I don't know, but I hope that they can bring in something like this, because that would certainly make it even more interesting.
Yep.
It would be really cool. I just had this idea. It would be really cool to have like a timed event or something that once in a while happens that requires you to have people put out thumpers to keep the worms away from a caravan that needs to make its way from one place to another. And if it gets to the place, you have access to super cool merchants or something for a limited time.
Yeah, exactly. Who show their gratitude, and they can also scale it where it's not just a black and white win or lose, but the minimum you can get is 10% of the reward, but you can make it all the way to 100% if you and get a special bonus if everyone survives, or 3 of the harvesters make it through, or whatever. Yeah, I think there's so much potential. It's not difficult to imagine very cool, fun scenarios. Question is just what are they willing to do? What are they technically able to do? And what on what time frame?
Yeah.
So, again, we're also in a situation, like, culturally, where there's this underlying, like, impatience, in pretty much everything, and gaming is definitely maybe more of a sharper end of that impatience that kicks in. People want everything right away, yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they do. I've got high hopes for the game. I'm looking forward to the chapter 2 and going in there with, like, having had a break. It's been kind of nice and refreshing. I kind of missed the game a little bit because I've, like, completely had a hard cut just to see what it felt like. And there's been a few moments where, like, oh, I could just build like a deep desert base or whatever. But funnily enough, I'd never really have the thing of, like, I miss the actual game loop itself. Because I enjoy the building and mostly the camaraderie and having, working together towards things with people. And, again, testing stations and that, I'll only do them because I'm there with friends and we're having fun doing it together. I don't log in and go, oh, I really want to go, do this testing station, or, I'm not a typical gamer in that sense. I don't want to just play the game. So yeah, we'll wait and see. They're going to have to come up with some more exciting things. I think there's some stuff in chapter 2 that I definitely want to go back and see. But as with anything, there's always a lot of things vying for our time and our attention and limited energy. So it's got to be kind of good enough.
I just had another thought. Like, you mentioned the game loop and being with friends and such. It just kind of hit me. I like having a clear distinction between group activities and solo activities. Open world for me is mostly where I see, yeah, this is where I'm solo, this is where I go farming, this is where I poke these people and try to find materials and whatnot. And then in instances, aka where testing stations and such would be, that's where I would bring a group.
Mm-hmm.
So I think me being able to just go into most of these, like I haven't done the deep desert ones, and I really want to do that at some point. But most of the testing stations I've been to so far, I've done solo, and that feels a bit weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to bring more people into those areas together with me, like have something that makes sense, and be less rushy and more let's plan on how we approach this and kill these different groups of mobs, and we'll need a tank and a stabber and whatnot. I know that's not how Dune works, but that's I think I kind of want more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
I do think they're a little bit victims of their own model that they've chosen, where people can kind of do all things to all people. I like not being locked out of things, but
yes,
then they need to have a loadout or a model that allows you to, because you can't have multiple characters, then they need to have a model that lets you change and respec, or not really just respec. You don't want to go through your points again, but just let us have a loadout thing of like, right, I'm going to go into a testing station on my own, therefore I'm setting up as a fighter.
Yeah.
Or a Bene Gesserit, or I'm going in as a group, and therefore, and also I think, this is the last point I'll make on this topic, so we can move on. But I think that ironically, having all the things accessible has also taken it down a path of the roles not being very distinct ultimately.
Yeah.
So where we talked about earlier with Battlefield, about being the support and the medic, feels really fun and really rewarding and has its benefits. There's a tiny overlap when you're in your party, but nothing that gets in the way. And actually, it's nice to be picked up off the floor as the medic, so you can then do the healing and put the kits out for everybody. Dune doesn't really have if we've got a Bene Gesserit and we go through this testing station, this bit's going to be easier.
Yeah.
Because actually, ultimately and ironically, when you're in a PvP multiplayer scenario, you get in each other's way because you're trying to use a finisher or a big move, and someone else interrupts it with another power without meaning to. You're actually fighting against each other indirectly, or interrupting each other's movements and that. So the level of coordination and being on a call together or whatever is much higher in order to have everybody feeling like they're fully contributing to the battle. What I've found myself doing in testing stations is I go in with people because I'm enjoying having a company, and then I either isolate someone that I fight, or I just stay a couple of paces behind and let people who are really enjoying and good at the fighting do the fighting, because I don't want to interrupt their moves. So I end up being almost a passenger walking through the dungeon, and I'm just there as, part of the group and having the conversation. So, but yeah, it's lots and lots of possibilities in there and what they've built, and it's going to be up to them to see how they will they deliver on that.
Indeed. And with that, we are going to once again say thank you to our patrons. That would be Mari, Finn, Mr. Roboto, Tilted, Lima, and now our newest patron, Mr. Introvert60. Thank you so much, all of you, for choosing to support us monetarily. $2 or equivalent a month, all depending on where you live. And yeah, we are almost to a point where every single month is now fully covered.
Nice.
I think we need like one more patron and then we're there. That would be really cool. That would be hecking cool. And yeah, thank you, folks. That is insane. Like, technically we're at 6 now, so that should be 2, but there's some the patron takes a tiny cut, but yeah, we should technically be there right now, but yeah. But thank you. We are very, very grateful, and we really should sit down and figure out something we can do for them, and give them a bit of an extra at some point. And last out for today is, of course, something to smile about. I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna hop straight in. I saw something recently, where, like, the first video I saw of him, I wasn't aware of the full story yet, but I saw a TikTok. There was a man Norwegian man who was out in nature. He was he was being very serious and being close to the microphone and be like, "You hear that? You know, it was doing the whole kind of serious man out in nature, and then there was nothing, and it's just silence. You hear some birds tweeting, and yeah, this is wonderful, except for him." And he was talking about his dog, and as soon as you heard the dog, the voice of this man shifted from this big burly hunter guy type of man to and super cute, and it was just wonderful to see, because one, it shows like it shows the importance of having like normal voice with a dog should be where it sits up, it listens, it knows that okay shit, something is up. But when you use the cute voice, that's when it's like, yeah, I get to play, I'm out, I'm doing something right, woo, you know. And it was so clear from the way he behaved with the dog and talked about him that this was the thing, and it made me smile so much. And it was actually yesterday evening I saw another video by him. This series of video, I can't speak suddenly, which is fun because
is that your dog voice?
not far
am I
from
gonna
it.
get treats now, or
Roof. But the reason why he was doing this series is part of a course to learn to be better with public speaking. And he chose to do it in English on TikTok to challenge himself. And he then chose to use the topic of dogs and such, because that is something that excites him, and being out in nature. And that made me smile even further with having seen the other video first, because like I couldn't have guessed from the first video that was part of it, and I thought that was really cool. And it was like, heck yeah, you're nailing it, keep on going, dude. I like this. So yeah, cute dog voice, do it. Or something, I don't know, made me smile.
Gregory?
How about you? What does clear left mean?
What clear left means is that, unfortunately for regular listeners, it's that silly man Texas Hula again has snuck in and made me smile once more with a clip from his iRacing. You know, he has this iRacing habit, stroke addiction. Hashtag cold tires, I can quit when I want to. Sure you can, sir. How's that new Nuremberg ring that you bought? Anyway, he sent me a clip saying this made me chuckle, and I get two smiles out of this. I'll send you the clip afterwards. You can have a look at it. We'll include the link if it may be. But basically, he's doing his whole, like, you know, Hula's a guy. When he puts his mind to something, he wants to do it, right? Which I like that in people. Like, this is, you know, so not to say he's taking it too seriously, but he's having a proper goal. He's racing around doing Daytona style track or whatever, and you know, they're coming up to some. It's not one of those, because it's got actual turns and bends and whatnot. Anyway, but he's like trying to catch up and looking for an overtaking opportunity with somebody like that. And then the in-game, like, they have the man in your ear kind of thing from the pits, and the guy in the game calls out, "Clear left," right? And then almost immediately, another car that you've been watching a little bit get a bit erratic behind Hula in the rear view mirror. Suddenly, he's been out of sight for a few seconds. It suddenly careens in from the left and ends up kind of upside down on top of Hula's car and smashes him into a wall. Yeah. But just literally like split seconds after the guy in the pits calls out, "Clear left." Which I'm not sure. I'm not a racing aficionado. I'm guessing that means, you know, you've got something coming from your left, make some clear room or something. I'm not entirely sure, because it can't be it's clear on your left, because this car literally smashes and rolls over him and the other. And it's just this, watching my buddy who's got this, you know, Hula, he's got an amazing sense of humor, a smashing human being, just really down to earth, like just a real great guy. And he's concentrating and he's like trying to do it, and you know that his chat's going to be there giving him
Cold
stick
tires
or whatever as well. And Yeah, and instead of clear left, it should have been contact left because this car just rolls over. I'll send you. But I get a double smile out of this because not only is this fantastic with the timing and everything, but the clip, right, in Twitch's inimitable style, you won't believe this. The clip is called Koi Gorgeous Fish Ninja Grumpy. I kid you not. So, just double win. I'll post the link to you so we can include it in the video description. So,
oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that is beautiful. I like that.
You can't make this stuff up. So yeah.
So I'm not sure if clear left means that it's clear, but usually I feel like it calls out car left when there's something to the left.
Yeah, maybe it's my hearing as well. I don't know,
but no,
anyway,
like car left means left. But I've also heard him say clear left or clear right because you can then maneuver again.
Yeah. I took it to mean it's clear, but the fact that this clip is like clear left and then this car just rolls on top of him. It's not even like hitting him from the side. He literally ends up on top of Hula's car and Hula gets pushed into the barrier on the side.
Oh, he's had some
golden,
rotten luck, man. Yeah. But it's been so fun watching him because his attitude towards it is so good, and it's professional, but it's also like he can laugh about things. He can just have a bit of fun with whatever happens after kind of shaking off. Like if something's super annoying, he shakes it off and then he can laugh and giggle about it, analyze it, and then work through it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
get into that competitive zone, but then you snap out of it right afterwards. So, and it's again, watch the clip for yourselves, folks. It's a good one. We
will make sure to include that. But thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us here today. It's been another long one. Oh, shit. We're almost up to 3 hours. Oh, my God. I keep trying to go for shorter episodes, but...
I think we both do when we set out our stall, and then it just meanders.
Yeah. Like, it's weird. Weird how that happens. I do believe we have been accused several times of being fireside chat type of podcast. Well, I say accused. Described is more apt.
I would take it as a compliment.
Definitely. Not wrong. But this is also why we need your $2 a month, because without that, we wouldn't be able to post these 3-hour episodes.
There you go. Full circle.
Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to finding our place in port again with you next month. Without further ado, it's a goodbye from me and a good vibe from Grumbles.
Good vibes, everyone.
Goodbye.